What's up, everybody? Chad here to talk about a topic that we really haven't touched on much before. So as you can tell from the title of the video, we are going to be talking about what the truck style and life is like in Europe. Specifically, I'm referring to Central Europe, so right around Germany. If you did watch the last video that we did put out there, I did just recently get back from studying abroad through Virginia Tech in Europe, and I had a fantastic experience over there. But of course, I'm not going to focus just on my research and my studies. I am going to be looking at all the vehicles over there, and there are lots of different brands over in Europe that we don't get over here in the United States. So I'm not really going to focus on those particularly. I'm going to more focus on the types of trucks that you see over there that you don't have over here. So specifically, I mean the Toyota Hilux, obviously. This is a Toyota-centered channel, and the Ford Ranger that we don't currently get, but we are going to be getting here in 2019. So while I was over there, it was kind of interesting because you don't see too many trucks. So I was spending most of the time studying in Berlin. That is the capital of Germany and one of the biggest cities there as well. So you don't really see too many trucks unless they're being used specifically for an industrial or a commercial use. So you don't really see anything like what I'm driving right now. You don't really see many trucks with beds there that are owned by just a regular citizen. They are used by companies that are actually using them purely for their truck purpose. So when I'm saying that's kind of different from what we see here in the United States, obviously there are companies that use them for fleet use or commercial usage, but over there it is more strictly the people who do like farming, commercial usage, the things I had already listed. It's used for those truck purposes, whereas there are tons of people here in the United States that buy a truck just to have a truck. Now obviously Bandit and myself, we have trucks and we use them to go off-road, but we also use them to tow, put things in the bed such as pallets, mulch, dirt, stone, whatever it may be. We have both used our trucks for that purpose because that is what a truck bed is meant for. You know, years ago when you just had a car meant for transportation, it wasn't immediately that they put some flat pieces of board on there and maybe even some on the sides and said, hey, we can put some stuff back here and really simplify our lives instead of having to have a separate wagon or use horses or whatever it may have been back in the day. So there are several people here that still, you know, obviously use trucks for truck purposes, but what I saw in Europe and observed was that it was not really the citizens that used it. And I would say that most of the reason for that is because just like Washington, D.C., where I am working this summer, you know that the traffic is really, really bad. You want either a vehicle that's going to be pretty decent on fuel or something that's small and compact, and that is what I saw mostly in Europe, in Berlin. So there you're going to see like lots of the small Volkswagens, the Jettas, the Golfs, some Passats, CC, and some of the other Volkswagens that we don't necessarily get here in the States. And obviously lots of those have diesels, some diesels that are even smaller than the 2-liter TDI that we used to have here in America. We're no longer getting that because, as you all are probably well aware, Volkswagen cheated emissions here in the United States and did recently. I think they were fined and accepted $1 billion in penalties in Europe because you know they're a European-based company. Volkswagen is based there in Germany. So they were kind of fined for that as well, as they should have been, because you don't just cheat emissions like that. So anyhow, went on a bit of a tangent there. So most vehicles that you do see over in Europe in those bigger cities are going to be the smaller ones that have diesels or even smaller petrol powered vehicles, and a lot of those were manual transmissions as well. There were not really too many automatic transmission vehicles that you saw over there. Obviously they are an option, but you do have to pay more for them, and lots of people want a vehicle just as transportation. They don't really look at it as something super flashy. There was, interestingly enough, there in Berlin, somebody driving an old 60s Mustang. So they must have either moved from the United States and brought their pride and joy Mustang with them, or it was a local German who had bought this vehicle and probably there in Germany and definitely in different parts of Europe. It's just not as prevalent as, say, Australia, maybe some other parts of Asia, where Toyota is going to have quite a footing over there. But anyhow, yeah, it was definitely interesting because I was expecting to see some more Hilux diesels and Ranger diesels, but didn't really see too many of them over there. I think I counted maybe 2 of each of those total, and I had gone to some other countries other than Germany. It was most of the time I was there in Germany, but the rest of the time it wasn't really spent there. It was in some other smaller areas kind of surrounding it. Definitely spent a day in Switzerland, a day in France, and a couple days in Amsterdam. And between all of those, it wasn't really too common to see a truck, which was shocking and not shocking at the same time, because of these bigger cities. There are people that are going to have the sports cars, some of the other economy cars. It just all depends on the area, but it definitely is interesting because in the United States, it definitely kind of says a little bit more about us as people. We like to buy these vehicles that are big and flashy, and they might not necessarily be for the purpose that like a truck would be used for, which, that's fine. There are plenty of people that buy vehicles that don't use them what they were meant for. There are people that might go around and drive their Mustang as a daily driver, but they don't necessarily use it on the track or race it at all. But I mean, that's fine. That's just the culture that it is here in the United States. But anyhow, let us know what you think in the comments below. Would you buy a truck for a utilitarian purpose, or would you just buy the truck and kind of have it as your daily driver just to say that you had a truck, and maybe have 4-wheel drive when those bad weather days do come along, because it is certainly handy to have a 4-wheel drive truck when the going gets tough. But yeah, so thank you all very much for watching. Have a fantastic week, everybody, and we'll catch you next time.